Hi everyone, my name is Rati Golijashvili. I'm from Tbilisi, Georgia, and I lead a Georgian biopharmaceutical company called BioChimPharm, and simply to put, we produce the only viable alternative to antibiotics, and we treat and prevent antibiotic-resistant infections. And it is the technology itself is called bacteriophage, or simply phage, and Georgia happens to be not only a cradle of wine, but also a cradle of bacteriophage technology. And everything started 100 years ago with the investment of Stalin himself with 300 million rubles. And sometimes I say that it is the only good and impact investment that he made in his life. And yeah, actually we are represented in CAMCA region. We export to up to 10 countries, almost in every CAMCA country. And yeah, I'm really grateful and happy to be here and looking forward to the panel.
Okay. Emin?
Hello, my name is Emin. I'm from Azerbaijan. I live in Turkey last 5 years. I've been working in the region last 20 years, 10 years in Kazakhstan, 5 years in Azerbaijan, and last 5 years in Turkey. And throughout all my career, I've been working in regional roles in marketing in big companies like Colgate-Palmolive, Danone, then opened my own business in Kazakhstan and quickly scaled to Azerbaijan and other countries. Currently, we are, with my partners, we have an online platform, which is Keepface.com. It is an online marketplace where companies, advertisers recruit social media influencers for advertising purposes. It is a new era of marketing technologies going through the people, from people to the people. Yeah, the last 7 years we have been deeply into this business, currently working for Middle East, Eastern Europe, and CAMCA region as a whole. So we call it Central Eurasian market in total.
Hello. My name is Anand, and I am CEO of Monos Group. I'm Mongolian. It's a Mongolian company, and our field is a pharmaceutical field, both manufacturing, import and distribution, and retail. And also we have a food and beverage company and cosmetics company. So recently, since this year, since January, we started exporting our 70 SKU of products to Kyrgyzstan, Bishkek, and our next step is also we are working in Kazakhstan, trying to open a pharmacy store this year, and yeah, that's it in short.
Hi, my name is Gan. I'm from Mongolia. I'm a founder of ARC Financial Group. I worked for the stock exchange, for the Ministry of Finance, for the central bank. I founded a bank. I founded two financial groups. In my past experience, I've invested in Kyrgyzstan, I think 2007, 8, I don't exactly recall, with the microfinance know-how technology that we have developed here in Mongolia. And then we've invested in the Xinjiang region of China in 2010. So this is basically who I am. And
Thank you to our panelists. So to give you guys a little bit more context and the discussions that we want to have here today. So I want it to be more pragmatic. We want to talk about issues and as well as opportunities. If we have issues, how have our entrepreneurs have solved these issues, and so that we understand. So the general context, I guess, globally, in terms of globalization, is waning down. Most other countries and big regions are going into more protective regional policies. So what does that mean in terms of attracting investment for our region? What does that mean in terms of attracting Western type of investment or direct investment, and as well as understanding the investment levels in between of the countries in the CAMCA region. So as the panelists have introduced themselves, you have noticed that all of them have cross-invested in different countries. So, you know, starting with all the companies that have had some experience working, you know, investing and starting a business in Mongolia, but also they have experience working and investing in other CAMCA countries, including Kyrgyzstan and Georgia and Azerbaijan. My first question, so I'll pose my first question to Ruslan. So you are a serial entrepreneur. I think you've started a business in 7, 8 different countries. You have started and sold them. Your latest venture here is in Mongolia, called Dodo Pizza. And just to start off, I'll ask 2 questions so you can elaborate a little bit more. So the first one is basically, why Mongolia? What made you to want to invest in Mongolia? Are you seeking markets, or are you trying to be pragmatic in terms of startups and developments in Mongolia? Or are you led by more idealistic goals of increasing collaboration and integration in the CAMCA region? So that's the first question. And the second question is more on the pragmatic side of things. What were the issues that you have dealt with trying to start a business as a foreign investor in Mongolia, but trying to start a SME, you know, a small enterprise in Mongolia, and how have you resolved these types of issues so far?
Thank you. I think for the first question, it's very difficult to say that it's just pragmatic or it's idealistic, because we all start from the idealistic ideas. We want to build something bigger, something larger than what we already have. And for particular product of Dodo Pizza, it was really obvious choice because we are present in all other countries, in Central Asia, Russia, 17 countries right now. And in all these markets, we are the largest pizza players. So in Kazakhstan, we have 102 locations. In Kyrgyzstan right now, 15 locations. So obviously, like in Russia, it's 900 locations. And so obviously, like when you have on the border to the Russia, to Mongolia, and when you see that Mongolian market is really lucrative for this QSR segment, because obviously, I mean, you know, like pizza consumption, right, is always correlated with the temperature. So when it's colder, you want to eat more pizza. So for example, like Astana has the best number of like sales per store because it's very cold. So we saw that the same will go for the Ulaanbaatar because it's really cold here. That's why we knew that the market is there. Second, we look into the numbers of like Pizza Hut here. They have more than 25 locations. And from what we have understood, they have really great sales per store, great financial performance. Otherwise, the largest group of Mongolia wouldn't invest into them. So based on these numbers, we decided to enter the market. Of course, I mean, idealistically, like my goal as a founder of this group right now, we want to build basically our vision is to bring best of the world to our region, or what we have in our region to other parts of the world. And Mongolia was obvious choice, as I told you, but second thing what we have really liked about Mongolia is that on the neighboring you have Inner Mongolia. And Inner Mongolia has 20 million people. It's also very cold climate. You have big cities there like Baotot, Hotot, that has very high purchasing power. And it will be obvious choice after Ulaanbaatar, go to Inner Mongolia. And as you know, the Chinese pizza market is the largest market right now in the world. It's growing very fast, like double digits. So we think that after Mongolia, we could easily go to Inner Mongolia, or after Kyrgyzstan, we can go to Xinjiang. That's why we decided to enter Mongolia. So it's both pragmatic and idealistic. About the challenges we had in Mongolia, I think they are quite common for all the markets in our region. But what we have noticed first is that its whole Mongolian government sector is oriented towards larger corporations, especially mining. So all the government services are provided only in Mongolian language, and a lot of these regulations are very vague and not concrete. So we faced a lot of, so for the bigger companies entering the market, they can hire a lot of consulting companies, they can work with the special consultants to solve these issues. So actually there is quite big market of the consultants in Mongolia, but for the, let's say, small restaurant in Uzbekistan or in Georgia to enter Mongolian market without access to the English-based government services, without clear, simple instructions, it's almost impossible because they cannot afford to pay such high like consulting fees to the companies just to enter like a quite small market like Mongolia. So second one is access to the talent. To our surprise, Mongolian youth is very talented. Actually, they speak English much better than the rest of the region. So by the rankings, Mongolia ranked the highest. I think IEF is like 450 score point. So, but because of the competition from the larger companies, like especially in mining sector, there's a lack of the specialist, lack of the like, for example, we need to bring pizza experts or some like R&D experts to Mongolia, and there are a lot of barriers to bring experts because you need to pay $500 a month for each foreign expert you bring to Mongolia, and you need to get special permit. So the market is quite protected. But we see that Mongolia needs more foreign experts to learn how to do things because there are no, for example, we get a lot of requests from people, can you help to bring people who can make like shashlik like in Mongolia? But I mean, we cannot bring them legally. So they need to come on touristic visa and do this like instructions here. And of course the language is the second thing, right? And third big challenge here is logistics. Mongolia is really like badly integrated into the global supply chain. For example, especially with neighboring countries like Russia or like even China, there is a lot of problems on customs. For example, we have 6 tons of flour that's stuck on the customs for the last like 1 month without clear like explanation why it's happening. There is no like clear explanation why it's stuck. So it's really like difficult to work with logistics. And also cost of logistics is very high. You cannot bring, for example, like some small cargo from any part, from Kazakhstan or from Bishkek or even Russia, because there is very limited like cargo like logistics, especially with the frozen goods. So that's like main things. So despite all these challenges, I would say that Mongolia is a really lucrative market for the players from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, or Georgia, or other markets, especially in the sector of the services and consumer products. And what I also see is that there are good opportunities for the Mongolian entrepreneurs. You guys are very open to the Eastern Asia, like China, Korea, Japanese. Our guys tried your ramen, and like arikanya, it's one of the best like ramens we ever tried, and it's close to the taste to the Tokyo ramen. So you cannot find such high quality ramen nowhere in Central Asia. And if you could bring it to Central Asia, it would be a success. So what I see is that Mongolia could utilize its access to these markets like Korea, Japan, take some franchises or joint ventures like eMart and bring them to Central Asia or to Caucasus markets. That's like what we like so far observe on the market. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruslan. Thank you for that perspective. So moving on to the other side of the perspective, where a Mongolian company is looking to expand into the rest of the CAMCA region. So my next question is for Mr. Anand, CEO of Monos Group. So it's one of the largest group of companies. It's a big conglomerate in Mongolia, and we're finding out, or we're recently learning, that they are expanding not just into the Chinese or the Korean markets, but they also want to expand into the CAMCA region as well, and they're starting their journey from Kyrgyzstan. Can you, perhaps in a similar fashion, explain your journey, your issues or even adventures in setting up a business in Kyrgyzstan, and how do you see the potential for your company as, you know, how do you see the potential of CAMCA for your company's growth?
Well, first of all, we've been trying to expand overseas for over the last 15 years, starting from Russian market, Chinese market, as well as Japanese and Korean, South Korean. And the issue was, the thing was that we now know how to register our products, how to export, but the most difficult thing was a partner. Who's going to make the logistics, who's going to make the marketing, who is doing everything. So we need the partners. So in the Russian market, yes, we have exported like 2 brands of products. It's been like 10 years now. And in China, the Chinese CFDA requires, it's really hard to get. And we registered 3 products and still working on it. And however, Japanese or Korean or Western market, it's really difficult because whenever the customers or people think that it's Mongolian product, and then they, oh, okay, like they always ask, do Mongolians have facility? Do Mongolian standards requires, like, is it same as European standard? So our field is pharmaceutical and cosmetics and food and beverage. The thing is that the name Mongolia, it always reminds people that it's a nature, but not developed or something like that. So it was difficult for us, especially in the developed countries, to export our products. But however, our pharmaceutical products are manufactured in CGMP. We have GMP certificate. Mongolia's first GMP facility, as well as our food and beverage companies also has the highest quality in Mongolia. And we have spent like for the last 20 years, we have spent like 50 to 60 million US dollars just to upgrading our facilities. And then when we first stepped into Kyrgyzstan, the Central Asian market, the environment was very similar, and the culture was similar, and it was easy to work with Kyrgyz people. And the good thing is that they look at us as brothers, not as like a European or Japanese or Korean market. They don't believe us, like they have trust issues. But in Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan market, it was the other way. And in Kyrgyzstan, what we did was like, we went there, we had a seminar, even with the Ministry of Health, we talked about the GMP facilities and exchange of the professors and the engineers to our both companies. And we see the opportunity in Kyrgyzstan. Mongolia is like 3 million people, but in Kyrgyzstan, they have like 7.5 million people, the population. And for us, it's a big deal. And both Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, we have registered now food and beverage products and also 2 medicine products. In total, 70 brands we have registered, now selling in pharmacy stores as well as in supermarkets as well. And it was easy. It was easy to register. It only took like 6 months to register all of these medicinal products and then cosmetic products and food and beverage. So in Kyrgyzstan, we are trying to expand our point of sales to like 2,000 this year, and also we are trying to open a pharmacy store in Almaty this year. And why we choose Central Asia is, like I said, it was the culture, the working environment. All of these things were easy to communicate and also trust. Yeah.
Thank you. So since we're talking about pharmaceutical industry, my next question will be for Rati. So it's a highly technical industry with a lot of regulations, at least in the pharmaceutical space and healthcare. I think it would be helpful for the audience to understand the type of company that you run, the type of product that you produce and supply to the region. And obviously you have been doing this for a number of years. So how are you expanding your operations? How are you seeing CAMCA as an opportunity?
Thank you. So as I said, our company's mission is to overcome the antibiotic resistance challenge, and just like a brief overview of the problem is that every year 5 million people die because of the antibiotic resistance, and simply to put, it means that antibiotics just stopped working on certain diseases, on bacterial diseases, and because of the overconsumption in medicine and also in agriculture, animal agriculture. Like 80% of all antibiotics are used in farms, in chicken farms, beef farms, cow farms, and etc. and etc. And bacteria just got immunity against antibiotics, and it means that whenever we need antibiotics for different bacterial infections, they just stopped working in certain specific ways. So 5 million people die every year. Actually, bacterial and viruses don't recognize any borders, and whether would it be Mongolia, US, or Europe, everywhere bacterial resistance represents a huge problem, and it is a worldwide recognized crisis, healthcare crisis. And so we were lucky in Georgia that it happened that the first institute was established in 1920s in Tbilisi. And our company is based on the manufacturing department of Bacteriophage Institute that was fully dedicated to research and production of fighting bacterial infections. So we have invested 7 million euros to renovate and modernize this facility under the GMP, and we can totally resonate with the trust issues and also leveraging the Soviet Union context for using our preparation, our technology all around the post-Soviet Union countries. And yes, now we are, how to say, in a teenage years as a company. We are growing regionally, and we want to leverage the full potential of this Silk Road, historical Silk Road context, and also the Soviet Union context of usage of our technology. And we are also represented in Mongolia. Like last year, we have just started exporting to Mongolia, and we hope that we will leverage the full potential of Mongolian market as well. Yes, and we are on our way, so to say, to internationalization, and CAMCA region represents a very good platform to get to international markets. Like in Georgia, sometimes we always talk about 500 million EU market, which is sometimes not so very easily accessible for many different products. We are working on it, and within 5 to 7 years, we will definitely get there. But there is a historical context, Silk Road, and the usage of the similar products in the region. And I think it should be leveraged. And I'm really happy to be here. And I hope that Mongolian market and other regional markets will adapt our products. And yeah, we will reach all patients who are suffering from antibiotic resistance.
So were there any regulatory barriers in introducing your product in the region?
Actually, regulatory landscape in the region, it's quite similar. As I mentioned, post-Soviet Union countries share the regulatory context and landscape in terms of the pharmaceuticals and most probably in many different fields. The products itself are innovative, even for CAMCA region and especially for EU and US markets, because this technology was confidential behind the Iron Curtain. And when the Western Hemisphere, in terms of medicine, had antibiotics, like Soviets had bacteriophages, and they were using bacteriophages like in the World War II, and like there's a historical context of over 70 years of using our product. So landscape and regulatory context is quite the same. So they are registered as pharmaceutical products, medicines in all 8 countries that we export nowadays, and yeah, we are also working on cosmetics and dietary supplements, but in animal agriculture.
Thank you, Rati. So, since we were talking about regulations and regulatory issues or frameworks, I want to go a little bit on the soft side of things about the cultures. So, Emin Vali, you have been operating in the region and in the CAMCA region and mostly on the Caucasus side and Eastern Europe. Could you please share your experience of running a business, especially in the new media space, and how do you utilize and leverage this new medium and the influencer market, and how basically your experience of operating in the market up until today?
Thank you, Sainam. Our actual job is to help companies to grow across the region. So influencer marketing is one of the latest effective marketing channels, marketing through the people. And it is the easiest way of entering new markets, capturing the niche through the niche influencers. And you don't need time and resources to invest in content creation, understanding the local language and other details. The influencers do it for you. And if good selected, influencers are the most effective channel of communication. That's why mostly we are working with those companies who are growing in this region. One of our clients is the Trendyol. It is a big Turkish e-commerce company, recently acquired, 2 years ago actually acquired by Alibaba, and they enter the Middle East market and the Eastern Europe market and Caucasus market with us, and suddenly they stopped all the other advertising channels, diminished, and invested fully in the influencer marketing because they saw the ROI. And especially in e-commerce, when you can track the sales and track the effect of each marketing channel, even if each influencer, there is a huge room for improvement. And from that perspective, Central Asia, CAMCA countries' total e-commerce market potential, market currently is about 20-25 billion. The leader here is the Kazakhstan. And Kazakhstan company Kaspi bought Turkish biggest e-commerce company Hepsiburada. Probably they will invest more, taking the whole region. So the point here is that as in influencers and in e-commerce, the boundaries are getting out. So any influencer has followers from different countries. If you are from Kazakhstan, you have probably followers from the Uzbekistan and other countries. And while using this influencer in your marketing, you can reach other countries as well. So it organically happens. And if you have e-commerce, you have less barriers to have distribution and sales operations in the country. So if you have products to sell, being in e-commerce and using right marketing channels, you can easily scale to the region. So this is my point, and which is where I'm daily in and seeing a lot of opportunities and a lot of interest to the region, especially recently by Chinese companies entering the Central Asia and Caucasus market, like Temu, like in the social media, TikTok is actively entering the market, and we are one of the partners of TikTok. So while witnessing all these things happening, I can say that our region is becoming one of the lucrative markets. And if to add more, if to think in the context of the Central Eurasia, adding there Middle East, Eastern Europe, so we call it Central Eurasia, then it becomes quite diverse, but at the same time, one unified market.
Thank you, Emin. Thank you, Emin. So my next question, a couple of questions, is for Mr. Gan. So you've touched on this a little bit at the beginning with your introduction. I think you were downplaying a little bit, but you have started a bank that today has become one of the 4 largest banks in Mongolia that, takes over close to 90% of the banking market or banking sector in Mongolia. And then you have moved on to establishing Art Financial Group, I believe from scratch, and over the course of 10 years, it has grown into one of the largest financial services firms, investments. And then at the time, I remember this very clearly, I think it was in 2012-13 timeframe, you were advertising, you were thinking and showcasing that the Mongolian Stock Exchange needs to be more active, it can be utilized, and I believe you did a reverse IPO, which was, at the time, I think nobody has done it, at least in Mongolia. It was a very unique move, and as you had explained yesterday, now Art Financial Group owns 45 companies, of which 12 have been publicly listed. So I think, you've started a bank from scratch, you've started a financial group from scratch, and you've led a lot of the cryptocurrency development that was happening in Mongolia. So it's, I guess, this is to provide a little bit of context to the audience of your background. But moving on to money markets and capital markets, I mean, every startup, every business needs capital. It needs access to capital, and I think for a lot of the Central Asian countries, and for the most part in the CAMCA region as well, getting access to capital is only through, or mostly through, commercial banks. Stock exchanges are becoming more, it's getting more active, but one of the biggest issues was I've seen it in terms of liquidity. So market capitalization, at least for the Mongolian Stock Exchange, it grew from 1 billion to 4 billion over the course of 10-year period, but liquidity seems to be still an issue. So I guess the question is, are traditional commercial banks inadvertently limiting the development of the stock exchanges in Mongolia and maybe in the region as well? Because the conditions are very similar, regardless of size. And the second question for you, so sorry, the first one is a very technical question, but I think most of the audience will understand. The second question is, how do you see the vision? Actually, could you please just share your vision for Art Financial Group and Mongolia as a financial services hub, where we move into a world of alternative capital markets aside from the traditional commercial banking?
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, I don't think I downplayed. If anything, I tried to be very efficient and cut to the chase and get the message across. In terms of being successful in commercial banking, yes, I think you're right. Now, all businesses dependent on commercial banks. People rely on commercial banks, and it somehow hindered the development of capital markets, and still continues to do so. And I think it's not just the commercial banks, but it's the policymakers, it's regulators, that's the frameworks that were created that is hindering, you know, the alternative way of thinking. So the success I had in the banking, I think, in a way, inadvertently also hinders the progress of development of capital markets. On the second point, I think here CAMCA's regional forum has this motto of envisioning a regional future. And I think we need to focus a little bit more on the bigger, broader pictures, and thank you for asking this question. I think our history ties us. Mongolia has a lot to do, if not Mongolia, but people who inhabited this plateau have a lot to do with integration of different cultures in the CAMCA region in the past. And actually, you know, Turks, Hunnus, Mongols, going out from here and bringing change to the people in Europe, in Asia, should serve us as a guidebook, as an inspiration. I think we should think big. I think we should talk big ideas and how we can do more and compete with bigger economies jointly. Because one by one, I don't think our countries, our companies stand a chance to compete with large companies from China, from Europe, from America. So how do we push our policymakers to promote this kind of fora to develop ideas and actually you know, create regional structures to help facilitate alliances, partnerships, access to our markets, different incentive programs for doing business across our region. For me, Mongolia is a wolf economy. And the wolf economy is not tied to just Mongolian borders. I think, you know, when we talk about economic growth and development and we bring examples of Asian tigers, most of the countries here represented at this forum from nomadic background, and we all believe in the blue sky and the wolf totem. The power of the pack of the wolves should give us energy to do a bit more. And that's why I think, and we cannot compete like Asian tigers on cheap labor. Cheap labor automatically means poor people. We want to have rich people with high salaries, rich society. So that means that we need to not follow the models of the tigers, which are based on mass production, cheap labor, logistics, wherever. I think we should be more ambitious. And the current development, the state of the technology, the innovation gives us this opportunity. And that's why I think, you know, I think I would be really grateful if you thought seriously about the idea of creating a central, unified financial hub, let's say. I don't know, I'm of course gonna vote for Mongolia, so Ulaanbaatar becoming a financial center where businesses from our region can come and raise money, and investors from all over the world can come and look for deals in a place like UB, which I hope to transform into a financial center. I think access to finance is something that all entrepreneurs face. And I mean, we talk about access to commercial banking loans, but then how do we raise money, long-term money, to develop our businesses so that we can compete better if we have good access to good technology, good ideas, good markets. So the technologies such as blockchain and crypto really offers us just that. So we can access investors' money from Europe, from America, with the use of these new technologies. And I think we need to work with our regulators and policymakers for them to realize what kind of potential it brings. That's why our financial group has invested now in a stock exchange. We have a stock exchange. We have the largest licensed crypto exchange. It's all under one roof, and I truly believe that it will converge the technologies. And I think it will redefine the notion of commercial banking also. Yeah? So from the beginning of this year, we have launched a product which is a combination of DeFi, blockchain, DeFi technology, which is put on a single app. It basically kills the banking model because there is no interest rate margins. It's P2P. The money is not issued by the central bank, but it's issued by the people who hold the money, and they do the financial intermediation themselves. There is no financial intermediation fees. Yeah. Yeah. And I think the boundaries between commercial banking, exchanges, will all have to be redefined. I think the technology is helping us to rethink, yeah, the way we do business, the way we think about money, the way we think about central banks, their role. Is there a role for the central bank in the economy of the future? Is there a role for banks? Is there a role for centralized exchanges I mean, if you think about it, there is no role that I can think of. And as a banker, it's sad to say, but I think my profession is nearing its end, as well as my intervention here. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have about 10 minutes left. I'll open the floor for questions. And again, this panel session, I know it's one moderator and 4 or 5 panelists, but feel free to pose questions, or if you don't agree with certain positions, please feel free to express those.
Yeah, will just add another idea. Maybe one of the discussions going forward, you guys have 1.5 days to discuss other topics. I was just thinking that we could have, Deutsche Welle is a broadcast from Germany. It's a European perspective. There is the Japanese version of a global broadcaster, yeah, that broadcasts news. And there is Al Jazeera that produces Arabic news. But it's in English, it's global. Why don't we have, Tenger TV is part of our group, and Tenger League Media Group. If there was some sort of a broadcaster that, transmitted news from the member countries of CAMCA, that could be something. And Onda is a member, as I understand. He's the CEO of Tenger TV, and he could kind of help you guys organize, just sharing news in general, business news maybe, from the region, so that we learn about the success stories and learn about cultures, bring our people together, so that once we understand each other better, we can do business better, and then we can compete better with other regional blocs. Yeah.
By the way, we have a new website, camcanetwork.com. It is like old, but we will have a new version soon, where each of the members, CAMCA members, can make own blog posts, articles, and write about his own business or looking for partner or any insights and strategies offering. So there is already tech fundament what you are saying, and we can build on it.
Yeah, we can build on that and build a TV called, I don't know, CAMCA TV or Tenger TV.
And Tamara has a plan for the podcast as well. So, yeah, we can combine all these ideas.
Any comments from the rest of the panelists on the suggestion?
I just want to add like to what Mr. Gan said, that like it's, I think like as a CAMCA, we really need to think about how to compete with other markets. So what's our unique role in this world? What we can contribute to this world? Because I mean, I lived in Vietnam for like almost 10 years. It's like for the large economies, it's much easier because they have markets, they have people, they have logistics. They are not landlocked like us. They have sea access. So they have really proven strategy how to grow their GDPs per capita, how to become Korea's, Japan's, Malaysia's, Poland's of the world. And they can have this strategy. But we really don't have this strategy. We don't know how to make these dreams of having GDPs per capita, $15,000, $20,000 per capita. I mean, of course, like some of our countries are lucky with the resources like mining and other things, but not all of us. So the proven ways of the industrialization, when you can start export something, when you can produce and you can learn, and it doesn't work for our region. So we need to find the way. And what I believe personally, we need to get back to the basics. We need to think about the Silk Road idea, that our region would be bridge between the regions, because we actually is like one of the largest, like I mean, we basically by nature, by geography, we are between east and west, between north and south, right? So we have these large markets, and especially with the internet right now, the global world become like a global. So what I see, I mean, my personal impression that shared with a lot of our fellows, that actually our like smaller countries generate a lot of people who are risk takers, who wants to go outside of their countries. Like Chinggis Khan had like this, there is a book by Lev Gumilov. He said that Chinggis Khan and his people were the people of the long will. They wanted to go outside because they were not happy with what they have. And what I see is that in smaller countries, you always have these entrepreneurs. For them, the local market is too small. They want to go outside. They want to build something bigger. But by themselves, it's a lot of failures. Because when we go to the larger markets, we busy become like a US citizen or like Australians, etc. We lose our identity. We become like US citizen, or like, I don't know, like we become like Americans, Japanese, Mongolians, not Mongolians, like Koreans. But we want to preserve this identity. So what is our way? And that's where I see that like our forum like us, or maybe other things, initiatives needs to take a part. We need to share more stories of success, of the regional success. And we need to help out each other, like talk about what are the ways how to grow, how we can grow. I mean, it's not just about our internal inside region, but we have really, I mean, we should always, we have these big threats, Russia and China between us, but there are also biggest opportunities for us. So we need to think how we can export something to them. It can be anything. For example, like one idea for Mongolia, what I thought, because it's a democratic country, it's a freedom. It's a freedom, because no other country in Central Asia, unfortunately, right now, we are not free. And right now, like Mongolia really can be like a Singapore of our region. But right now, I see that it's not ready yet. So the government should work on towards that. But it might not be, and it's not only like about Mongolia, right? I mean, Astana is also doing this job. I mean, we registered company in Astana Financial Center. It's a great initiative. There are great things, but it's only temporary. It's working well right now because there is a lot of influx of Russian companies. Dodo also like moved to Astana right now. InDriver moved to Astana. A lot of oil companies moved to Astana because they wanted to avoid sanctions. But once the sanctions will be lifted, this jurisdiction will not work. So what we need to think, how we can create something regional, maybe regional stock exchange, maybe regional, like some kind of, like I don't know, virtual jurisdiction that will work for our countries. And anybody, Chinese, Russian, can come and enter, open bank account, can open crypto wallet, and operate globally. Because we can provide some kind of warranties for them, we can provide this freedom. I don't know. I mean, of course, I'm too much businessman. I can say maybe let's open casinos, etc. But what I want to see, like, we need to think in this way of line of thinking, and maybe we can be like the bridge between these worlds. We can do what's, for example, what my like personal experience. Dodo Pizza is working well in Russia. It's working in Kazakhstan. It's working in Kyrgyzstan. That's why we brought to Mongolia. But after Mongolia, I want to go to China. But at the same time, I see that Korean #1 player went to Mongolia, Mom's Touch chicken, and it became very popular. And I see that I can bring Mom's Touch to Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, and maybe later to Russia. And this is the way I can cooperate with my Mongolian fellows, with my Mongolian partners, and we can do it together as a team. Not just like, as Mr. Gan said, as a wolf of the packs. Not just like one tiger or like, because we are not tigers, we are not dragons. But if we want to work in a pack, we need to learn how to work in a pack. We need to decide, we need to find the principles and the common way of working. Thank you.
So for the reference, there is one Kyrgyz company which is looking to raise money here on the Mongolian stock, not Mongolian, UBX, Ulaanbaatar City Exchange. And I think this is already starting. And again, there are entrepreneurs here. You know, I think we should keep pushing and trying. And I think, you know, in the end, something will come out of this. And I think it's also not a bad idea, just that I floated to have some sort of original programming for the TV, and I volunteered, you know, to talk to Tenger TV to see what if there will be like local anchors that you could help us find who could be sending those different contents to, so that we can start broadcasting. Yeah.
Thank you. I think, am I out of time? 5 minutes? Okay. Okay, let's use the last 5 minutes to take some questions from the audience, if there are any. Okay, no hands. Okay. All right, if you're too shy to be asking questions publicly, please don't hesitate to reach out to us in person and mingle and discuss and ask your questions in person. Okay, thank you to all the panelists, and thank you, Ruslan, Mr. Gan, Mr. Anand, and Mr. Vali, and Rati. Thank you.
Thank you.